if you would be interested in managing the project and keeping things on track in a more permanent position here at Quantico.
No, I can't.
You don't have to answer now.
It's very flattering, but I already have a job in Boston.
Dr. Carr, your knowledge and professionalism have already had a great impact on our understanding of behavioral science. It would be a shame not to take full advantage of that. Sleep on it. I'd rather you didn't tell Tench or Ford about this until you make your decision.
Thing is, he didn't care about her hair at all. He just used it to rile me.
I hate that fuck Frank, but it's always the boyfriend. When you're lost, you play the odds. It's Benjamin.
I'm not so sure. You should have seen Frank after you walked out of the room. He looked at me and he said, I did not see Benjamin kill her.
They're messing with us.
I believed him.
I am sick and tired of this shithole.
I know.
Hey, Nancy made me promise to invite you to dinner. She wants to see who I'm spending all this time with. You know, have a look at you. I have a deposition this afternoon. I can't do anything till tomorrow.
I'll go.
It is acutely obvious that in this particular instance, the anger was triggered by stressors that were focused on his fiancée in particular.
Stressors?
Dramatic life events, things that pushed both their buttons.
Frank Janderman was happily married with a new baby on the way.
But Frank didn't want to be a father. He hated that.
Is that a motive?
No, it's what we call a stressor.
So you think Frank did it?
Benjamin would not have been able to do it on his own.
You're saying Benjamin was provoked by Frank?
Pushed, yes. Frank saw his chance and raped Beverly Jane. Situationally motivated sexual assaults.
Situationally?
As opposed to preferential, yes.
Well, look at. Here's my question. Who killed her?
All three of them are responsible for her death.
So they all mutilated the body?
Well, no, that was Benjamin. Frank and Benjamin left her body at the dump, wrapped up, but Benjamin came back a few days later. He couldn't let go. Remember, he's under a lot of stress, so he took the hunting knife.
Well,
to
let
her.
me stop you right there, because here's the problem. How do I prove all this?
I'm just here to provide you with intelligent, accurate analysis.
If a jury can't understand your analysis, then it's no use to anybody, is it?
I agree. But it isn't my job to make the jury understand anything. That's your job. And we have all placed our trust in you. How do we translate this so that you can use it?
What you're saying is that both Benjamin and Frank killed her, right?
It's complicated, I know. Benjamin knocked her out because he felt like he was rejected, which is a stressor. He tied her up and called his brother-in-law Frank because he didn't know what to do. So Frank comes over and takes advantage of the situation and rapes her. Benjamin doesn't stop him because he wants to see her humiliated. Now Frank knows that he's in trouble. So he starts telling Benjamin what a slut she is. And that is a big problem for Benjamin. So they kill her. Then they call Rose, have her come and help clean up. And she sees the poor girl in the bathtub and realizes that she's still alive. So they stab her again. And then they move the body to the dump.
That went well.
You think?
Sure, I mean, what don't you think he grasped?
Well, you know these people, I don't. I think that he seemed very intent on blaming Benjamin, and I'm not quite sure I got him over that.
Well, certainly at the end he seemed very attentive. I thought you laid it out clearly and concisely for him that it was all three.
Well, if you're right, then we should be fine.
Yes, we should be. How's commuting?
What do you mean?
Having half of your life in Boston. Is the back and forth becoming a strain? I know that it was discombobulating for me, all the travel when we were straddling road school.
Small talk a way you deal with your anxiety?
They will never understand the discourse on any deeper level, nor will they ever become conversant in your
I
vernacular.
mean, I actually think that they're quite intuitive.
Look, I know you came a long way, but it wasn't like
A 4-hour drive in the dead of winter.
if it's done, it's done.
It ain't over till the fat lady sings. You offered him a plea bargain?
He just pled guilty to third-degree murder. And he is now facing 5 to 20 years in a state psychiatric hospital.
You've misunderstood.
Look, you did a great job. And you almost got it right. But it was never Frank. It was all Benjamin.
You know that's not true.
You had an expert in psychopathy and sexual homicide from Boston University make a recommendation that Frank motivated Benjamin to commit murder and...
She said he pushed his buttons.
And that Benjamin came back and disfigured the body. But this is an exceptionally difficult and disturbing case. There's very little forensic evidence. Almost all the evidence is circumstantial.
You classify our evidence as circumstantial.
A plea bargain is the only antidote against a failed prosecution.
You're letting Frank off. He shouldn't just go to a mental institution for 5 years. He should be put away for life.
5 to 20 years. And the defense is arguing that the state had a duty of care the first time Frank was in the hospital. Theoretically, the onus is on the state to make him better.
He's never going to get better.
He's letting the wrong guy off with the lighter sentence.
When Wendy explained it to him, he seemed to understand.
I think he just wasn't sure he could convince a jury. This way, it's airtight.
He didn't try.
I know the outcome wasn't what you wanted. All 3 behind bars, and Benjamin will fry for what he did. We have to consider the attention span of a prospective jury pool. We need to keep them in mind. Our objective is the lowest cost for the highest quality of justice.
You know this is bullshit. We need to hit the road.
Refining our methodology, making sure we're airtight and idiot-proof. So we need more subjects.
One's just like Kemper, please.
Those were the days.
You know, you're gonna see people present with similar pathologies, but the way a person kills is as individual and distinct as the way they have sex. Except he went a little further than Benjamin. He plastic cast the breasts and made them into bronze paperweights. It's time we use the questionnaire.
Did we settle on that?
We have to be able to distinguish the fractal similarities and differences so that we can codify it clearly. Otherwise, we're just wasting our time.
Well, sure, but sometimes you gotta go with your gut.
And when you first walk in, you can trust your instinct. But once you get your subject talking, we need the protocols so we can build a consistent data set.
Makes sense.
In all that paperwork, there's not a single word that illuminates what he was thinking or feeling before, during, or after the crimes. There's nothing on his operation principles, his logic.
Logic?
His internal logic, yes, which hopefully one day we'll be able to decipher.